like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. It's Riva, and Anakin has been out for just over a day now, so more or less we've all had a chance to try him out in some way and get used to his abilities. So how about some tips and tricks? We now know what his abilities do and tested them out for ourselves, so hopefully this video will take it one step further. So his Passionate Strike ability, which is on the left. Basically this breaks an opponent's block. If you manage to hit an enemy, they get thrown to the ground. Here's a few examples of what a successful hit can look like. It goes straight through the block and sends them to the floor, dealing 180 damage to heroes and 250 to troopers. This also comes with a lunge mechanic, which allows you to lock onto a target and actually lunge towards them and strike. You do need to be pretty close for it to trigger, kind of closer than a normal strike, but it does have that capability that you can lock onto someone. It doesn't need to be manually aimed or you need to be really close. It's just you can lock onto a target. Passionate Strike is a pretty easy ability to understand, but it's about how and when you use it, which we'll talk about in a few minutes after the other abilities. So his middle ability is the Pull Dominance, and just to mention, you cannot use this in midair, only when you're on the ground, so keep that in mind. But basically it brings enemies towards Anakin, dealing 70 damage to heroes and 100 to troopers. So how do we go about using this then and taking advantage of it? You can actually pull Boba Fett out of the sky, right to your feet, and then you can finish him off, the perfect counter for Boba Fett. This ability can help out with many other scenarios as well. For example, Phasma camping at the droids, Iden running away with the shield up, and Palpatine using his jump height. You know, he can get some really high distance jumping around, so you can just use that pull ability, pretty much cancel out all of those heroes' main techniques and bring them towards you. So don't waste it, think about the right time to use it. Also, you can use it from a vertical standpoint as well. So if Anakin has the high ground for a change, you can still get a hit with the Pull Dominance ability. So it's cool that it has that feature. I'm unsure if you can bring a hero right towards you on the same height, but the pull kind of curves, so I guess it's not too important. But the fact is that you can use it if someone is below you or above you. It still will deal damage and pull them somewhere. And Heroic Might. This ability is where Anakin charges up and unleashes a powerful 360-degree force push. This ability is probably the most interesting for Anakin in my opinion, as it can be used in two ways. You can either double tap the ability to have it trigger instantly to get a player off you, as it's a physics based move, plus you deal 100 damage. So if you want to use this technique, it's a really good way to get quick and easy damage on a target and send them to the floor. This can be useful paired with any of his other abilities because they are all physics based basically, meaning they will get sent to the floor or thrown around one way or another. Meaning Anakin can stack up these effects pretty fast and most likely take down an enemy pretty quick. However, the other way to use this is to hold down the ability button and charge it up. But if any enemy damages you in the time you are charging, the damage output is increased. And this can go up to 1000 damage, and that's not a joke. If you're attacked during this charging phase, you have the possibility to one-shot villains that are around you. Here's a clip which shows Dooku getting one-shot if he attacks Anakin a lot during this charging phase. But in comparison, if Dooku wasn't to attack Anakin during this phase and just let him charge on his own, then it only deals 100 damage. So the more damage Anakin takes while he's charging like this, the more damage he's gonna do to everybody around him. And it can result in one-shot kills. It's not just arcade. I've got an example here on multiplayer. I get to take down two villains just because Kylo Ren was attacking me so much. So it's a trick we will have to be aware of. But keep in mind this can be blocked, just like any other force power. It may not hit anyone or it could hit everyone. So it's one of those things, you know, just try to release it at the right time. Because you don't need to fully charge it, you can release it whenever you want. Just like these guys in Heroes vs Villains were doing, they know it would only make me stronger if they were to attack me while I was charging. So there's two ways of using this ability, each to their own advantages, so it's up to you how you choose to use it. Retribution is his fourth ability, which slowly fills up based on a few things. Damage done to himself and his teammates getting damage to them as well. So what happens? Basically he does a 360-degree force choke. So tips with this ability is that if you play Heroes vs Villains, the charge meter will reset after every time you get defeated. So the goal is, if you want to use this ability, stay alive as long as you can while being in the fight. So you want to be actively helping your team, but trying to preserve your health at the same time. So it's a very rewarding ability for skilled players. However, in Galactic Assault it just feels normally, as you only get one life anyways. So when this is filled, you are actually told how many players are in your radius that will get hit by this ability. So always have a quick look at how many people are shown on the ability. And don't worry, just like the Heroic Meit, Retribution Force Choke also gives you 90% damage reduction, which is really nice because the animation is pretty long. So there's some individual tips on each of Anakin's abilities. Now let's talk about pairing them to be even better. You can use the pull to bring enemies towards you as they are standing back up. Quickly double tap the Heroic Meit ability to send them back down to the floor, and then follow up with a few standard strikes. This is especially dominant with villains that have no block like Darth Maul. Both the pull and Heroic Meit abilities have the vertical capability. Just like I said with the pull, it's also available with the Heroic Meit. You can trigger the Heroic Meit on the floor and it will hit Boba Fett that is flying in the air. I have a clip of that in Heroes vs Villains as well. So instead of the radius looking like this for each of the abilities, think of it more like this kind of shape, that you can affect people all around you. There's a couple things I wanted to showcase in this video as well that are not to do with Anakin but are really cool. So there's a quick tip that I wanted to show with Yoda, where if he absorbs Count Dooku's Force Lightning, his Unleash will push that same lightning back instead of a Force Push, to make it look more like Episode 2, and if you manage to get a clip of this, then it looks actually pretty cool. So that's a new update to Yoda, just a visual change. And the stun time has been reduced, so that's Lando's stun, Phasma's, Palpatine's. But the main point is that you can't get stunned straight after each other basically. There's around 3 seconds where you can completely avoid any stuns if you just got hit by one. Meaning you can't constantly be stunned anymore. Hard to explain, so I hope the gameplay helps. I put a fast recharge on in arcade and the second stun within 3 seconds didn't work. So pretty cool feature, and thank you DICE for rebalancing heroes like this. But that's it for the video. I hope I could help you understand Anakin a bit more and give you an edge over your opponents. It's been a pleasure hosting Battlefront updates for a couple days, so thank you for watching. It's been Riva, and may the Force be with you.